Awesome. So it is 6:05 right now. I'm just going to go ahead and get the party started. My name's Rick. I am the founder, owner of RedWaif and the Wafer platform. And tonight we have the Heroes team with us to talk about their project and what they have going on. Can you guys please introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name is Scott Smith. I am the lead dev of HEROS Token. We are a team of five. That would include Astroverde, Low Voltage, Heroes Queen, and the Chadrock. We all play our different roles in the project, but we all work together for the common goal. So,
Absolutely. And can you give us a little backstory on Heroes and kind of what your guys' goals are?
yeah. So ultimately, we initially started as a meme coin that benefited charity. And, as much as I hate that, that's what we were when we started. And, we found out quickly that, our efforts to benefit worldwide charities needed more than just that, right? So we began it would have been December, we began adding utility to our project. And, our efforts are a just an assortment of different things. We always focus on being able to give back, but we are a for-profit organization, and that means that we need to have something that brings in profit. So we have a ecosystem that is forming that is built just to do that, not only to help fund and stabilize the token price, but also to add to our development funds, marketing funds, and then, of course, our charity efforts and donations. So those things consist of our upcoming NFT drop, the League of the Lost, that incorporates our real world product line and apparition that is so close to being released. It also includes our education platform, Live and In Person, where we bring projects on and share and educate through that platform. So yeah, I mean, we're building, and as we grow and as things develop and come into reality, then more things are going to come into play. And our roadmap just has a long list of goals that we have in mind, including, a treasury, an NFT marketplace, which is already under production, and eventually a play to earn, play to give game, as well as additional products for our cause. So
That's awesome. I'm really glad to see that you guys have an actual revenue stream in place. A lot of the time, when you hear about or talk to like charity tokens, all they really talk about is how they're liquidating, so it hurts the charts and all that stuff. So really cool to see you guys be able to counter that and think outside the box when it comes to being able to, push those fundings and things forward. From what I've gathered from other projects that are like similar in the capacity of charity, like I said, it's the revenue stream that has always been kind of questionable. So really cool that you guys have that planned. I see that you guys were on V1 and just went to a V2. Can you explain kind of what the changes were and kind of why you guys went from a V1 to a V2?
absolutely. So we initially launched last November, November 10th to be exact. So we're almost a month away from our 1 year anniversary of being in crypto, as far as the project goes. But like I said, we found out quickly that just being a meme coin that benefits charity was not enough. And we began in December talking to the team at Everrise and teaming up with them and working on how we can take the next steps to become a utility token that benefits charity. And that's why we launched the V2. The V2 was launched on February 15th. It's going to be a date I'll never forget. It was my birthday, and it was the most stressful birthday ever. But nonetheless, everything went smoothly, and all is good. But what we did and why we launched the V2 was because mainly at the time, ETH gas prices were just ridiculous. So we had community members that were coming in and saying, they want to enter a position or they want to, add more, but they only have $50 or $20 or whatever to do that. And at the time, gas fees were $150 to $300 a pop. So it didn't make sense for them to enter a position and join our community. So with our V2, we actually took and launched on the Binance smart chain as well. So we're dual network, Binance as well as Ethereum. We have a bridge in place integrated by or actually powered by Everise. And then, on top of that, we are all lined up that once V2 migration is complete, that we will go on to the Everown DApp of the Everise project, which will allow us to renounce our contract without renouncing our contract. So that does a couple of things. We had a lot of people in that time, last November, December, January, that, were asking us to renounce. And I look at renouncing as a huge setback. It's like you throw up your hands and you just gave up. That's why you would renounce, right? If your project has any kind of function or want to go on, you need to have the ability to make any changes that your contract allows you to make. However, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I absolutely couldn't agree more. I mean, we had to let people, because we never renounced ours either, and it was a big controversy back then, but it's like, we know where we're going to go. We have goals. We have ambitions. So, yeah, I just think it's interesting that the stigma kind of around that has changed over the course of the last few months. But, yeah, I just wanted to chime in on that since we kind of went through the same thing. But, yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no problem. And, and that's really why we started talking to Everise in the first place. Was we were looking for a way to not only renounce our contract in a way that doesn't renounce it. It allows us to gain access provided the community agrees with the direction we want to go and why we want to access the contract. But also it gives us a voting platform that once they are able to do more than just, a yes and no vote, it will allow us to do our charity polls on a non-biased third-party platform. So, we really like that aspect as well. But then that led into the dual network, and then that led into, us wanting to do a staking platform. And, we looked at different platforms that were out there and we're like, you know what, these are complicated. Let's simplify it. So we came up with a way to do that within our contract that we call in-token staking. And what that does is essentially whenever a position or a transaction begins on our token within your wallet, that staking contract automatically starts. There's no fee to enter it. It just happens. And then 90 days later, you automatically receive your rewards, which are currently set at 12%. So we have been pumping that since February as far as, how simple that platform is to use and to, incorporate, but people can't seem to get their heads around it. So we are actually venturing to a traditional staking platform, at least for now. And maybe we'll bring that back later on once we've gained more ears and more eyes. But for now, I think going to a traditional staking platform is the way to go for us at the moment. But those were the reasons that we wanted to launch a V2. It was more than just, some tokens will launch a V2 just to build hype. We actually needed to launch a V2 to add a Binance contract. We needed to launch a V2 to change the code in our contract to implement in-token staking. We needed to, make sure that all that stuff was audited on both networks. And then on top of that, Everise's team audited both contracts before they would even consider working with us. So it gives that additional sense of security as well. And that was really the reason for it. And a lot's changed. I mean, the space is ever changing and we are evolving with the space, but that's why we launched the V2.
Can you give me a breakdown of the tokenomics and kind of how they interact or benefit the holders, as well as rewards? Just kind of the setup of it.
Absolutely. So we have a 10% buy, a 12% sell. The way that breaks down is 1% goes to liquidity, 1% is reflections. Excuse me. 2% goes to the charity wallet. 3% goes to marketing, 3% to development. That is on buy. On the sell, it is exactly the same, except for marketing and development both get 1 more percent. So it's 4% for each of those. Now, we also have a anti-whale feature as well as a anti-pump and dump feature, which means that if you go on like Token Sniffer or you're trying to enter a position initially in our project, you may get an alert saying that taxes are 24%. Well, they're not. What they are is if you make an entry or enter a position today and you sell within a 24-hour period, taxes are doubled. That is our anti-pump and dump. That is to prevent bots from jumping in, especially at launch, and to wait for the chart to go up, 5x, 10x, whatever it was, and then dump on the community. We felt like if they're going to dump within a 24-hour period, it's going to benefit all of our holders. And that doubles all those taxes for reflections, for charity, for all aspects. But if you wait after that 24-hour period, taxes go to the 12% sell and the 10% buy never changes. The anti-whale is a max wallet of 3% of the total supply. Our total supply is 100 quad, so that would be 3 quad of tokens. And that's also so that no one wallet can dump the chart. We also feel like the in-token staking, essentially what that breaks down to is it's not really a staking contract. It is a more advanced form of a reflection, in the sense that if you buy and enter a position and you held for a period of time, you're going to get a reward of 12% of the minimum amount of tokens you held during that time frame. That was, or that is the whole idea. So really, if you look at it that way, you enter a position and in less than 90 days, you're going to get 2% more than what the taxes cost you, which we felt was pretty cool. Plus all the reflections in the middle. But like I said, that's going to be most likely the direction we're going, or not most likely, it is the direction we're going right now, is we're going to kind of put the in-token staking on the side burner and go to a traditional staking platform, because it just seems like the community cannot wrap their head around how simple that is. And yeah.
Got it. And yeah, that in tokens, that internal staking process that you're talking about is really sophisticated. Like you don't really hear too many places or people talking about that particular functionality within a contract. So kudos to you guys for being able to pull it off. And, obviously education is going to be necessary to kind of explain that to people. So have you guys, aside from, some of the comprehension of the tool, have you guys ran into any other kind of issues with public understanding or anything like that around the technology?
Well, of course, I think that's, what we're all facing in this space is, people that are coming in and looking at our projects. Some of them are really well versed in this space, but the majority of them are not. And, we feel like having just a forefront, being out there, being available, whether it's our Telegram, Discord, Twitter, socials, we're on Facebook, Instagram, all that. We make ourselves as available as possible, and we make sure that we always have a space on Thursday night, whether we have a project to share with the community or not. And the reason for that is we want to make sure that we're always available to answer any questions the community may have. Now, going back to the in-token staking, I mean, we shared that on just about every possible promoter you could imagine. I mean, we were on Jake Gagan, for God's sake. And, we shared it with, him and his 100,000 followers, or who knows how many of those are, real or bots. But, nonetheless, we've been pumping that out there for, since February. And we still have people popping in saying, hey, how do I stake my tokens? And we explain it to them, and they still have a hard time wrapping their head around how simple it is. So, we feel like it's definitely the way of the future. It's going to be seamless. It's something that we can, adjust the rate of return for our holders, but it's something that people at this point in time can't wrap their heads around. So we're going to do a traditional staking platform that, will cause them to go through the hoops and pay for, the gas to, start the staking process and then to get the rewards out and all that, which I personally think that's, not the idea that I had when we implemented it, but it is the way that people think. And, once we get that group of people that are avid, holders that want to stake their tokens, and we share with them, hey, this is what we have. It's already in place. All we have to do is turn it back on. And I think that's just going to blow their minds. But we got to get that grasp in there first. And, until we can, we're going to do a traditional staking platform.
Right on. Yeah, I know that, adoptability can be a tough one for sure, especially in this space, right? With all the complications already are with just using crypto. Super cumbersome at times, right? So going back to the charity part, right? So it looks like you guys have donated about $50,000 to various charities, right? Are these direct donations to them? And do you guys produce like some sort of filing or receipt to show the transparency of who or where it went to specifically?
Absolutely. So we do on our website, Heroes Queen actually will create a really nice, pretty certificate that says that we made the donation and the amount that we made it to and who we made it to. But for every one of those donations, if you go through our socials, you will see we did post the actual receipt that shows that we made that donation. That is something that we feel is very important. It is kind of the backbone from when we initially launched Heroes back in November. And we don't want to steer clear of that. We want to make sure we're staying on point. And the only way we can stay on point is to give full transparency and show that we're doing what we say we're doing. And all those charity donations were picked and chosen by our community, which is even more impressive.
Now, when the community is voting, is it through the Everrise platform? I know that they have obviously shout out to Everrise, by the way. That team is epic. I just wanted to ask, at the end of the day, is it based through their voting system there, or do you guys have a different way that you guys vote?
Yeah, so not yet. And that's what I was saying is that was what initially constituted our discussions with Everrise last December was we wanted a non-biased way to have our community vote and have a third party, hold that vote. And Everrise offers a DApp called Everown, which is a way that we can renounce our contract and utilize that feature of that to do charity votes. But even to this point, they only allow a, 2 answer response. So what we do for our charity polls is we have a separate chat that is a suggestion chat. We open that up and we announce it first, but then we open it up and our community goes in and they make suggestions on the charities that they would like to see us donate to. When we get to 10, we open up a poll in our main Heroes chat, and that's where our community votes. Now, the last two community votes were actually finalized on Twitter. So we did a top 10 in our Telegram, took the top 4 of those, put it on Twitter, and opened it up for the entire community to vote on, whether they're in our project or not. And that's kind of how we feel like it gets as I don't know, as non-biased as you can get. One of the concerns was, in our Telegram that, we were botting the votes, and that's not the case. But, how do you combat that? And until Everise actually gets their platform to the point where they can have multiple different selections, more than two, we really can't use them, because do you want charity A or charity B, which I feel really biases it from 10 suggestions. So I think what we're doing now is we're taking and putting it on two different platforms. The top four from our Telegram go to Twitter, and then those four get voted on not only by our community, but by anybody who, follows us or follows the charity that is involved. It is just, to bring awareness to the project, bring awareness to the charities, and to do a good cause.
Really awesome. I see, St. Jude, and what else do we have up here? What was one of the other ones that you guys did? I see St. Jude's, Wounded Warriors, Make-A-Wish.
Yep.
So you guys have done some pretty reputable companies. Since you guys have made donations, are you guys going to start being able to use in partnership with or anything like that in the future? Maybe some branding or recognition from organization to organization?
So that gets tricky. We are not a 501(c). We are a registered legal entity in Pennsylvania, so we are an LLC. But it gets tricky because there's just a lot of loopholes. Now, I have been talking with a charity out of the UK, the Roald Dahl's Marvelous Children's charity, which is a fabulous charity. 100% of the donations actually go to the cause, not to, paying the
bureaucrats, right?
Right. So we've been talking to them, and we were planning on having a mega space on YouTube in September, and the space just didn't allow for that. I was reaching out to projects to participate and, just bring awareness to their organization and partner up with them. I actually sat with their founders for it was actually two sessions. Both of them were over 3 hours long, and it was them just verifying legitimacy of HEROS Token and myself. And once we got to that point, then they're like, okay, yeah, we can do this. And with that, it not only brings one of their founders to talk about the charity in that space, but also brings a spokesperson from the Giving Block, which is how they receive their crypto donations. And we have both of them lined up when we do hold the space. So we're looking forward to doing that in December. We feel like, regardless of the market, maybe more projects would be willing to, participate at that point in time.
Christmas spirit and all.
There you go.
Christmas spirit. I like it. Hit us up. We'd like to participate in something like that for sure. See what's going on.
No, absolutely.
So, all right, on to these NFTs, right? So the art that I see in your profile picture, that's a part of your guys' NFT collection, is what I'm understanding?
Yes. So this is going to be, and it's not really the art, it's actually a silhouette of the art. It's going to be League of the Lost. It is a generative collection of 2,000 NFTs created by our dev, Chad. He goes by the Chad Rock. He is a experienced NFT artist, as well as owns his own web development company. Fantastic guy. I've known the guy for years. But it is really a year in the making almost, because we launched our Series 1 last December, and we really didn't understand or know what made up a NFT collection. So we have 10 really fantastic 3D pieces of artwork that are in that series, but they're not a collection. And we've done tons of research and put a lot of thought into what this is going to mean for a NFT collection. I even, me and my wife and my son, we attended NFT NYC this year just to get more insight and gain more knowledge about what the successful projects are doing, what's coming up in the space, what's happening, staying up to date, educating ourselves. And, we've come up with League of the Lost as a result of our just due diligence and research and brainstorming. And what League of the Lost is going to be is it is going to take a couple different benefits that we feel are going to make it worthwhile. One is if you hold a Genesis or a Series 1 NFT, because anybody who holds a Series 1 will automatically get airdropped to Genesis Series. But if you hold a Genesis Series, you're going to be or claim a NFT from every collection that we mint from here on out. So that means that you buy one NFT, we have a collection of, well, actually this, the League of the Lost, so far we are up to 10 generations, and we're only starting with the Genesis right now. So there's definitely going to be 9 more generations after this. So you're going to get 9 more NFTs minimum, just for buying the Genesis series. That is one of the benefits. You're going to get excuse me. You're going to get the ability to contribute to the storyline. So on our Discord channel right now, we have 2 teaser videos building up the story of the League of the Lost. And we're building this story because it's going to lead into a lot of different things. But what those things are is not veering from our community effort, right? We want to incorporate our community into the NFT project. So we want our community to add to the story by creating their own NFTs backstory and, putting into their NFT what they either wish they could be, or, maybe, they're goody two shoes and, love donating to charity and doing, donating time and all those types of things, but they want to be a villain, right? They can add that into their story and build their character and, partner up with other people that, feel the same way or have similar, ideals of what their character should be. We want them to just embrace it and run with it. So that is one thing. The other thing is these are all going to be in-game playable characters for our play to earn, play to give game that we are planning and we've been talking about, but are a little bit of ways off because of market conditions and whatnot. But it is going to, the story is going to lead into the game, and these factions that these community holders are building with each other are going to also roll into the game. So it's going to be an interesting I don't know, community, culture, whatever you want to call it. But that's what we want to build. We want people to take ownership of their NFTs and live through their NFTs in the game and just in the NFTs, as well as the community and the game that's coming up. You will have the ability to team up and work with our CCO, Heroes Queen, to create a custom one-of-one piece of merch, whether it's a hat, a t-shirt, a sweater, whatever it may be, but it will be created with collaboration of yourself and the NFT holder and Heroes Queen to create a one-of-one NFT piece of merch that you can acquire. You will also get exclusive benefits from, different events that we're planning on attending, which, we're hoping to be part of NFT NYC next year. And then the biggest thing I think with this is we are giving full creative rights of the NFTs to whoever owns it. So if you acquire a Genesis NFT or any, series NFT after that, and you love that NFT so much, and let's say you want to open up a Shopify store and have it mass produced on t-shirts and just sell 1 million t-shirts with your NFT on it, it is yours to do with as you please. Once, as long as you're holding it in your wallet, you own full creative rights of that NFT. So we're excited about that as well. And
So
then,
with the game, what is the game going to look like? Like, can you give me like an example or like maybe an idea of what the game will ultimately be like? Will it be? It sounds kind of like an RPG, like almost like you guys are going to start gang wars within this little game, right? Where everyone has their factions and things and play against other players.
yeah, so I'm not going to go into the idea or the ideas that we are building on the game yet, but if you want, you're going to be able to put together your own thoughts and ideas by following those trailers that we have already released, we do have two of them. The third one will come right before the Genesis Mint. And then after we do the drop of the NFTs, our marketplace should be nearing completion. And that is the next step in getting to that play to earn, play to give game. So I don't want to give away the farm yet, so I'm not going to go into that.
No worries. So I do see there's like a dog superhero. It looks like as your guys' mascot logo. Is that playing into anything at all, or is that just kind of a logo at the moment?
Yeah. So the initial launch of Heroes was dog themed, right? So we kind of kept with that, but our NFTs are going to be very similar in that aspect. And we're, like I said, we're excited to release them. Chad did an amazing job, and we've had the ability to get sneak peeks. And actually, if you look down in your space here, you will see, three different silhouettes of three different NFTs that are coming very soon.
Awesome. So how many? So you said you guys already have some that are minted in some capacity, right? So which ones are currently minted and from what collection?
So the Genesis has not dropped yet. What we have that are available to the community is our Series 1 NFTs, which are a collection of 10 different NFTs, and then there was 65 available of each one. Now, when we do get to the point where we do the snapshot of the current Series 1 holders, we will actually burn any of the remaining NFTs from Series 1, so they will no longer be available. If you're holding a Series 1, it's yours to do with as you please. But, that will guarantee you a Genesis and then every NFT after that.
That's pretty cool. I like that idea of just burning up. Brings that count down, right? So it makes them a little bit more rare for everybody. Can you tell me a little bit about the education platform that you guys are setting up? Are you guys going to go deep dive into things, or is it just kind of going to be related to your guys' project? Can you let us know a little bit about that?
Yeah, so initially with the education platform, we had started a Medium profile, and we do have a few articles that are posted on there. And we were really hoping for some of the community members to step up and want to contribute, and that didn't happen. And as I was doing all of the articles, I just, my time got slimmer and slimmer, as being a dev yourself. It's just juggling everything around and being able to continue to do that. So we put a pause on that, and we started holding these spaces called Live and In Person. And that is technically our education format right now. What it is it is us introducing other projects to the community, asking questions like you're asking me, right? These are questions that I would always answer to any of our community members that would bring them up in any of our spaces or in our Telegram or Discord or whatever, because I love answering this and being, just giving that full transparency of whatever their question seems to be. Okay. So we feel like having this platform where we bring in projects and allow them to talk about what they're doing in the space, and then going into a little bit more detail by asking a little bit more complicated questions, gives the community the ability to, or not the ability, but the understanding that these are the questions they should be asking. If they're looking at Project X, they want to know that Project X is this, this, and this. They should not be afraid to ask that in one way or another, whether it's through, a chat or it's through a space or a VC, whatever it may be. And that's kind of what this education platform does. And then more recently, we've been getting into a little bit of side notes, so if a project says something that is a little bit intriguing that doesn't necessarily relate to them, but will allow them to clarify and describe what that means to somebody who may not know. I always like to put things in terms of explain it like, you're explaining to a 5-year-old, put it to the simplest possible form, because that is what people can grasp and understand no matter what level they're at. And for some of us, it is, we've been in the space a while. We have that, knowledge that we know exactly what to do, a trade on PancakeSwap or Uniswap, or to stake tokens on a certain platform, or to mint an NFT from a site. We know how to connect our wallets, and we know how to do all these things. But for somebody that is going to enter the space as being very new and not knowing much except for, Bitcoin hit, $67,000 last December or November. That's who is going to really learn from this. And we may evolve off of this, but for right now, that is what our education format is currently doing.
I like the spaces format because then it gives people an opportunity to actually ask in the context of what's going on. Like, hey, what did you mean by this, right? Because I feel like things get lost, right? Like when you're doing like a module or something that's pre-scripted, or just like a generic video, where maybe there's questions lingering, and it's still do your own research. So you start down a rabbit hole of wrong information, right? Not knowing. So, yeah, I like that approach. Definitely. I mean, a lot of people are auditory learners anyway, at the end of the day. So I appreciate the spaces that you guys definitely hold. I've been in a couple of them. I'm going to try and get to more of them for sure. Learn something new, maybe myself. Now, on your roadmap, I see you guys are at basically phase 2.5, almost midway through phase 3. What do you guys foresee coming up here when you guys are going into stage 3 and 4 as the biggest hurdles?
So one of the things that we're looking at is the donations that we're making. All right. The next milestone is $75,000 donated, and then 100 and 125 and so forth. That's always in the back of our minds. But I think the game is going to be a big milestone. It's going to be a massive expense, of course. But, we are already kind of taking things in stride. So with the marketplace already underway, and hopefully the completion of that not too long after the League of the Lost Mint, that is that next step to getting to that game. And that is really how the play to earn and play to give feature of the game will interact with the user, is through the marketplace. And we're really excited about that. But the marketplace isn't only going to be limited to just our game. It's going to be open to any project, but they will have to go through our application process to mint on our marketplace. So, we have a lot of hurdles. Right now we're struggling with, the Apple Store and the Play Store to get a app, uploaded. I swear I think they've been taken over by CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, because it seems like it's what we went through back in November when we were trying to, at November and February, after we launched V2, trying to get them to acknowledge that, hey, we were already on your platform. We just launched the V2. So, we do have quite a few things. We want to do a get together where we can bring the community together in one location. That's going to be very difficult because there's people from all over the place, and having a centralized location and then having the funds to be able to hold an event at that location. So there are a lot of things in our roadmap that are going to be pretty major to overcome. But if you look at everything that we've done in the last 10 months, 9 months, or 11 months, we've done a lot for saying that we started as a meme coin that donated to charity. We've done a heck of a lot, and we are continuing to build and grow. After the mint of the League of the Lost, we're going to implement a treasury that's going to have a play in not only our token, but also the NFTs and the marketplace. And it's going to help stabilize and support the chart. We have apparition products that are going to get launched with the app when that happens. So there's lots of things happening right now, and there's lots of things on our roadmap, and we're taking it one step at a time and making sure we're doing it in the right order, that it just progresses as smoothly as possible. And I think that's kind of how we deal with it is, we have these things that we want to put into place. Some of them are major, but we know what the next few steps are, and that's what we're focusing on. When we get, the next two done, we add two more, right? And we just keep building and growing that way, and the team just pulls together. And I have to say, I mean, we all come from different walks of life and different backgrounds, and we all have great senses of humor, but we keep each other in check. We run ideas by each other. We bring up suggestions, and we pull together and come up with these fantastic ideas that how we can grow and make our project stand the length of time of generational generational, what do you want to call it, generational ownership, I guess you could say. Is something that hopefully someday I can pass on to my kid, or if not my kid, maybe some young guy that's in our Telegram that has been a loyal follower, which we have a few that are just, they amaze me. We want to be able to hand off the reins and have it keep going. And that is our goal. So there are a lot of things. I think the play to earn game is going to be the biggest obstacle. And then, of course, that's not the only one, though. And we'll take it one step at a time.
Yeah, I definitely will say that Apple is absolutely the worst. When we tried to launch our social app, they kept trying to hit us for in-app purchases of crypto, even though that's not what we do. So I don't know if you guys ran into that, but just implement like a point system so you can skirt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you mentioned the marketplace a couple times. Can you tell us a little bit about the marketplace? Paint a picture for us of how this will operate and what it'll be like.
Yeah, sure. So the NFT marketplace is going to be, it's going to be an obstacle in itself, and not that building it's the obstacle. The obstacle is that how is it going to, play a part in the crypto space against, big powerhouses like OpenSea and Rarible and Mintable. These are marketplaces that have been out there. One of the things that we are going to be able to do that is something that we're not seeing anybody else do is we're going to vet projects before they're allowed to come on the platform. I understand that there's teams that, do not wish to be doxxed, and that is fine. But if you're going to mint on our marketplace, you're going to have to dox to us, because we don't want to see what we've gone through with our NFT collections. We've had at least 4 copycat collections on HEROS Token alone. I know of other projects that have had several, copycat collections where the community thinks they're buying an actual HEROS NFT, but they're not. They're buying something that is not that, but it looks just like it. And these scammers, they really put up a very believable page on these, at least on OpenSea. And when we catch it and we report it to OpenSea, it takes up to 72 hours for them to remove it. So how many other people have gotten scammed or bought something that really wasn't our NFT, that didn't have the utility that we're putting into it and the benefits? And then they're coming to us saying, hey, I bought this, but it's not yours. And it's becoming our problem, even though it shouldn't be. It should be OpenSea's problem. So, what we're planning on doing is we're planning on vetting anybody who wants to mint on our platform. And then we have somebody to hold accountable if that happens. So that, if Joe Cool says, hey, or goes on and does a copycat mint of, another project's NFTs, we can say we have all their information. This is who we're going after. We can report it to the authorities as, fraudulent, or we can even go after them for creative rights, creative use. So, it's hoping to be more secure. And, with that, giving people a place that they can go and know that when they're buying a NFT, it is what they know they want to buy, right? It's the project that they're looking after. So that's one aspect. We want to also incorporate what we've done with our crypto token, where we have an Ethereum and a Binance token. We want to incorporate initially Binance and Ethereum for NFT minting, right? You don't see a whole lot of Binance NFTs out there. They're out there, but you don't hear too much about them. At least I don't hear too much about them unless I actually actively search for them. So we feel like it is a good network that would allow for, possibly projects to be able to mint and, launch NFT projects at a lower price. I know Polygon is fantastic, and maybe eventually we'll branch out, but initially we're thinking Binance and Ethereum. So those are our key efforts, but really the marketplace started with the game in mind. It was, this is what we want to do for our game, and how can we get to this? And it involved us implementing a NFT marketplace. But for us to implement an NFT marketplace that doesn't really do anything except for cost us money didn't make sense, right? We don't want to add things to the project that are going to be a drain. So we are making it so that other projects can mint on it, where there will be fees collected. Those fees will actually help pay for the server that the marketplace resides on. They'll go to adding funds back into the token. They'll go to adding funds to marketing and development, and of course, charity.
I love that you guys are still committed to the charity, like from top to bottom, and thinking about how to integrate it. Maybe you guys can be the first NFT marketplace where those fees go directly to a charity, like a click box at the end. You know what I mean? That'd be something cool.
That would be cool. And, I think we do know enough projects that that do something similar to that, but not having a marketplace, but they do have a platform where it allows people to donate crypto directly to charity, that we could implement or maybe add an API into our marketplace, which would be fantastic.
I think it's great, like I said, that you guys are continuing forward with the charity. Will you guys eventually go down the path of a nonprofit organization or create a nonprofit to kind of, I guess, give your guys' self like a tax break, essentially, giving you guys a more of a benefit for the donation?
So there's a few hangups there. And it's not that, it's something we've not thought of. We did take that into consideration when we did apply to be an LLC, right? We were looking at, maybe we should do a 501(c). But the issue with that is, in order for us to be a 501(c), we have to have a dedicated or I thought we had to have a dedicated charity topic or subject, right? We had to have a focus for where those funds are going, no matter what. And I found out later on that that's not necessarily the case. But the other issue is that it doesn't really change for the investor other than if they wanted to do a direct donation. So if we were a 501(c) and we implemented that into our token, because the token is tradable and they can make money off of it, does not allow them to write it off as taxes, right? So or does not allow them to write off the charity aspect of taxes. So I don't know that that's a road that we're going to go down in replacement of the LLC. It may possibly be something that we venture down, maybe a year or two down the road where we see that, or we find a way to be able to do what we're doing in the real world where we can say, hey, we are a 501(c). If you want, you can donate directly to this charity. But again, there's also projects out there that are doing that. And I'm not sure if I feel like I want to step on their toes. I think they're all great people and they're doing a fantastic job as it is. And I don't think it needs to be improved on yet, at least by us. But it's not something that we've not thought of. We've definitely given it some thought. We don't foresee us applying for a 501(c) anytime soon.
Gotcha. Figured I'd ask. I know some companies end up changing their mind or what have you, or just forming a separate LLC or a separate, entity altogether. So just figured I'd ask. And then, do you guys have any events or anything coming up here that anyone should know about?
Well, so next month, November 10th, will be our 1 year anniversary in crypto, which we're excited for that. And then, like I said, we are hoping that next NFT NYC that we are going to be able to be there. No matter what, I will say this, that we will definitely be there as spectators, but I'm hoping to be a sponsor. And that all just has a matter of, how things play out over the next couple of months, right? Yeah, it's not cheap to be part of these events. And, I think just my exposure from this past year being a spectator at that event was amazing. And the amount of people that I talked to and brought awareness to our project and what we're doing and building, and learned about so many other projects. It was just amazing in itself. So no matter what we're attending, we're hoping to be a sponsor. And if we are, we will definitely be looking to do something for our NFT holders.
That's awesome. 1 full year in crypto. And let me just say, every day feels like time goes by a little slow. So that's like 15 years in crypto years, right? Considering some projects are opening up and closing like same day or rug pulling.
Oh yeah, and I don't know if you saw my picture, but I'm only 18 years old. Um, no, I'm actually 44, but it's just, I'll tell you what, I feel like this past year has been 10 years. It just, the amount of time and effort that it takes, especially when you're juggling your personal life with, the crypto life, it's nonstop and it does take its toll. And every now and then we all need our down days. So, but yeah, it's I think a big accomplishment, a project hitting a year mark, and hopefully we'll be talking to you guys in 10 years when we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary. Um, so, but yeah, it's been a crazy year for sure.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the next 10 years, right? I mean, crypto is still so new. I mean, just from top to bottom, blockchain technology. So we're going to be known as the pioneers, right? If we do our jobs right, eventually we'll be the guys that are like, the new Steve Jobs or Wozniak, or like these new guys that, help really trailblaze a technology that'll definitely change the world for sure.
Yeah, it'll be 100 years from now, kids will be playing a game called the Crypto Trail, not the Oregon Trail. And, some of the cryptos will die of dysentery while others, make it.
My favorite was dying of typhus. I don't know why. It just always cracked me up.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think, and I've said this before in other spaces, that I look back at when the internet was fairly new, and the name that I use as my profile name, Ace Overkill, that was my very first email address. Um, and this goes back to the mid 90s. I was worried that if I used my real information to, get online and whatnot, that somebody would steal my identity. And the fear of the internet at that time was just like the fear of crypto is right now. It's almost like it's almost like I'm, reliving it all over again, and knowing that you jump ahead so many years and now nobody even second guesses it. They have internet in just about every home. It's required for businesses. I mean, everybody's using it and they're not even second guessing it. Well, you jump ahead 20 years in crypto, and that's where we're going to be. It's going to be something that is just used on a daily basis in the majority of homes, and people aren't even going to second guess it. They're just going to use it like they use, their refrigerator or their washing machine. It's, yeah, the mass adoption is going to be amazing to see. And
I'm
knowing
gonna
that
date
we're,
myself a little here, but do you remember having to pay for minutes for the internet? Do you remember that?
I do,
Do you
I
remember
do,
that
yeah.
you'd get those AOL discs? Like, oh, here's 100 free minutes of AOL usage. Like the most outrageous. It was so expensive. I just remember thinking, like, who in their right mind would do this? And then you had to pay to get an email. You had to buy your AOL name.
Yeah, yeah, no, I remember that. I mean, and that's what I'm saying, like my username, it was aceoverkill at AOL.com. And it
I
was
feel
it
so
was
old now.
crazy. Or yeah, yeah, you're telling me. I'm right there with you. But you know, I lived that and you lived that obviously. And we've experienced that fear that was then, and how, people just couldn't put their minds around what the internet was. And that's where we're at right now with crypto is people can't wrap their heads around what crypto is. And until it kind of breaks down that barrier, which it's already starting, you're getting these large corporations starting to invest in crypto that I truly believe the next bull run's going to be just massive. But yeah, I think the next 20 years is going to really be a turning point. It's going to be an evolution in from Web 2 to Web 3 and possibly beyond, right? What's going to come after Web 3.
Web3 is going to be wild once it really gets mass adopted fully, especially with everyone's imaginations and their opportunity to express themselves on the blockchain. I just imagine it being, like everyone says, the wild, wild west, So we are coming up on what the full hour mark. I just want to ask real quick, do you feel like we've missed anything at all relating to the project, or do you feel like we've done a very extensive deep dive?
I think you've done a great job. I really can't think of anything that we didn't touch on. So if anyone does have questions, I'm always available to answer them.
Yes, and I did want to open the floor right now up two questions. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't miss anything that maybe was important or anything like that before I open the floor. So feel free to request a speaker spot, or if you're too shy to come up and talk, make sure to follow Ace and Heroes and be able to DM them or send them a message, what have you. But yeah, feel free to request a speaker spot. I know if you guys have been here since the beginning, you've heard me essentially grill these guys for about an hour on everything about their project. So um, let me see here. Ace, do you have any other final thoughts or anything before we end up closing out the space if there's no questions?
Yeah, so I will say this, do your own research. I mean, as much as I'd love for you to become a holder of our project, I would not expect you to do it blindly. And if you have questions, please reach out to our team because, we understand that this space, people look at it as a way to make money and they want to make money. They're investing their money to get a return. And we understand that. And that's why we implemented staking. That's why, we have these spaces that go into, detail and ask questions, very much like RedWaif has been asking us, this evening. We want you to do your research and you should definitely check us out, check out any project and do that due diligence. And, any project that tells you to hodl, any project that, looks negatively on you for selling, I mean, that's not a project you really should be a part of. We are building a infrastructure within our project that is going to sustain our token price and eventually will grow our token price. And that is what we are trying to do for our community. So the people that are holding our token, we want to be able to give back, and not only give back through worldwide charities, but we want to be able to give back into our company. And that is by adding to our chart. And we do have that in play. It's on our roadmap and it is coming. And we are building to be self-sustaining regardless of market conditions. So by all means, reach out to any one of the dev team for HEROS Token. That would be myself, Ace Overkill, Heroes Queen, Astroverdi, Low Voltage, or the Chad Rock. We are always available. Somebody is always in our Telegram. And yeah, feel free to ask anything.
Definitely appreciate the transparency and you guys spending all this time with us. As our brother Hatham says, spending time with us is showing love, and you guys have shown us a lot of it. So thank you guys for coming out tonight. Ace, you guys were awesome. I definitely loved learning about what you guys have going on and all the charity work you guys do. So yeah, thank you guys again for coming out and sharing. As always, make sure to follow and subscribe to the speakers here. Make sure to give us that follow. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the space. We are a little bit over time. But again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you all for coming out. Again, my name's Rick from the RedWaif account, and you guys have a good one.
Hey, thank you.